Welcome back to the channel. In today's part 2, we're diving even deeper into the shocking scandals and jaw-dropping controversies that landed these celebrities behind bars. Curious to hear more? Drop a 1 in the comments and buckle up as we reveal the dramatic stories of fame turned infamy. Bobby Shmurda, like many rising rap artists, gained attention by delivering raw lyrics about crime and street life. But unlike most, he blurred the line between art and reality. In 2014, at just 20 years old, his career was on a meteoric rise. His breakout single surged to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, capturing national attention and positioning him as one of hip-hop's most promising young talents. With viral fame and a major record deal, it seemed Shmurda was destined for stardom, until the streets he rapped about caught up with him, derailing his rapid ascent. However, that same year, Shmurda's skyrocketing career came to a screeching halt as he became deeply entangled in serious legal trouble. In June, he was arrested on weapons charges after police discovered a firearm in a friend's apartment. But the situation took a far darker turn in December when he was arrested again, this time facing conspiracy to commit murder and other serious charges tied to gang-related activity. His legal woes didn't stop there. While being held at Rikers Island, Shmurda was caught attempting to smuggle a knife into the facility, further worsening his case and casting a long shadow over his once promising future. By September 2016, facing a growing list of serious charges, Bobby Shmurda accepted a plea deal, admitting to third-degree conspiracy to commit murder and weapons possession. Initially sentenced to 7 years, his situation worsened when a homemade knife was found in his jail cell, leading to an extension of his sentence to 11 years. Once hailed as one of hip-hop's brightest young talents, Shmurda's rapid fall from fame is a sobering reminder of how quickly success can collapse when crime and celebrity collide. Gary Glitter, once a defining voice of 1970s glam rock with a string of chart-topping hits, saw his career and reputation collapse in disgrace in 1999 after being convicted of offenses involving minors. He served 4 months in a UK prison for possession of illegal materials, marking the beginning of his public downfall. In an attempt to escape scrutiny, Glitter fled to Cambodia, but suspicions of further misconduct led to his deportation in 2002. Once celebrated for his stage presence and musical success, his name is now synonymous with scandal, his legacy irreversibly tainted by the severity of his crimes. After relocating to Vietnam, Gary Glitter's legal troubles only deepened, resulting in new convictions and further time behind bars. Upon his return to the UK, any hope of reviving his career was swiftly crushed in 2012 when fresh allegations surfaced, connecting him to a wide-ranging investigation into disgraced TV presenter Jimmy Savile. Authorities uncovered additional charges, including a serious offense involving a minor at the BBC. Arrested and brought to trial, Glitter was convicted in 2015 and sentenced to 16 years in prison, a punishment that all but guaranteed he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. His once glamorous legacy now stands as a cautionary tale of fame destroyed by unforgivable crimes. Joe Giudice, famous for his role on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, is now paying a heavy price for his criminal actions. Although the series frequently highlighted his wife, Teresa Giudice, Joe took center stage in 2015 when authorities uncovered his key role in orchestrating a massive bankruptcy fraud scheme. Both spouses faced conviction, but Joe received a harsher sentence due to additional charges of failing to file federal tax returns between 2004 and 2008, marking a steep fall from reality TV fame into legal disgrace. In March 2016, Joe Giudice began serving his 41-month sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution Fort Dix in New Jersey, reportedly struggling significantly with adapting to the harsh realities of prison life. Meanwhile, Teresa has finished her own sentence and returned home, candidly sharing the immense emotional strain this ordeal has placed on their marriage. Joe's frequent phone calls from prison, often leaving tense and unsettling messages when Teresa misses them, have only deepened their growing disconnect. His transformation from reality TV personality to convicted inmate stands as a stark and powerful example of how quickly legal missteps can shatter even the most carefully crafted public image. Colin Rashad Walker, a 27-year-old rapper and actor from Los Angeles, has been sentenced to 50 years to life in prison after being convicted of sexually assaulting 4 women and 3 minors. Found guilty of crimes including forcible rape, Walker was branded a dangerous predator by Deputy District Attorney Cynthia Wallace and will now remain a registered sex offender for life. Though Walker maintains his innocence and plans to appeal following the dismissal of certain charges, prosecutors presented chilling evidence that he deliberately targeted aspiring models on social media, manipulating their trust to perpetrate his assaults. His attorney argued the accusations stemmed from revenge, yet none of the victims knew each other before bravely stepping forward. Suge Knight, the formidable co-founder of Death Row Records, was instrumental in defining West Coast hip-hop during the 1990s, helping launch the careers of legends like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac Shakur. While his influence on the music industry was undeniable, Knight's reputation quickly became entangled in controversy. Known as much for his intimidation tactics as for his business acumen, his legacy was gradually overshadowed by a long string of legal issues. Despite his early success, it was these relentless run-ins with the law that would ultimately bring about a dramatic downfall, forever altering the course of his life and tarnishing the empire he helped build. During the filming of Straight Outta Compton, Suge Knight became entangled in a deadly altercation involving Terry Carter and Cleabone Sloan. What began as a heated confrontation quickly turned tragic when Knight ran over both men with his vehicle, fatally striking Carter and seriously injuring Sloan. The incident resulted in charges of murder and attempted murder. As the high-profile case unfolded, Knight's legal team negotiated a plea deal, leading him to plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter, a lesser charge than the original accusations. In 2018, he was sentenced to 28 years in prison, with the possibility of parole in 2034, a staggering fall from grace for one of hip-hop's most powerful and feared figures. Next are reality TV personalities Todd and Julie Chrisley, the faces behind the popular series Chrisley Knows Best, which premiered in 2014 and showcased their lavish lifestyle and family dynamics. But in August 2019, their picture-perfect image began to crumble under the weight of serious legal allegations. The couple was charged with tax evasion, bank fraud, and wire fraud, accused of evading nearly $2 million in state taxes, hiding over $1 million in income from their hit show, and submitting falsified financial documents to portray a wealthier image. The scandal cast a long shadow over their reality TV fame, exposing the darker reality behind their seemingly flawless facade. Despite maintaining their innocence early on, Todd and Julie Chrisley ultimately stood trial, where prosecutors presented a compelling case that exposed the extent of their financial deception. The couple was found to have inflated their net worth to obtain hefty bank loans, submitted falsified documents, and borrowed over $30 million to support their extravagant lifestyle, all while deliberately dodging taxes. After a nearly 3-week trial, both were convicted of conspiracy to commit bank fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and tax evasion, with Julie facing an additional conviction for wire fraud. The sentencing was steep. Todd received 12 years behind bars, while Julie was sentenced to 7 years. Today, Todd is serving his time at the Federal Correctional Institution in Pensacola, Florida, while Julie remains incarcerated at a separate federal prison in the same state, a stark contrast to the luxury they once flaunted on screen. Jen Shah, known for her fiery attitude and cutting one-liners on Bravo's The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, landed in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons in March 2021. She was arrested and charged with wire fraud and money laundering in connection with a nationwide telemarketing scheme. Prosecutors accused Shah and her assistant of targeting elderly victims, convincing them to invest in phony services such as website design and business coaching. These offerings were essentially worthless, designed to extract as much money as possible, exposing a dark contrast between her glamorous on-screen persona and the serious allegations unfolding behind the scenes. Heart-wrenching stories of Jen Shah's victims soon came to light, painting a grim picture of the damage left in the wake of her scheme. Among them was 75-year-old Tricia from North Carolina, who lost over $47,000 on fake business coaching services. Even more devastating was the case of Ralph Hick, a World War II veteran swindled out of more than $100,000. Hick passed away at the age of 92, and his family believes the financial and emotional strain from the scam contributed to his decline. Prosecutors revealed text messages between Shah and her co-conspirators that detailed deliberate tactics to manipulate and bleed victims dry. Although she initially maintained her innocence, Shah ultimately pleaded guilty to wire fraud. She was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison and is currently serving her term at the Federal Correctional Institution Bryan in Texas, with the possibility of parole in August 2028. Sam Hurd, once a promising NFL wide receiver, watched his future slip away as his deepening ties to drug trafficking brought his career to a halt. A standout at Northern Illinois University, Hurd entered the league with immense potential, signing with the Dallas Cowboys and setting his sights on long-term success. But behind the scenes, unresolved struggles with substance abuse cast a growing shadow over his time in the NFL. What began as a story of talent and opportunity quickly unraveled into one of poor choices and personal downfall, ultimately derailing the legacy he had worked so hard to build. On December 14, 2011, Sam Hurd's promising career came to a crashing halt when he was caught in a federal sting operation attempting to buy a large quantity of cocaine and marijuana with plans to distribute. His legal troubles worsened the following year after he violated bail by failing multiple drug tests. His attorney claimed Hurd had been grappling with personal demons and had fallen under the influence of toxic peers during a vulnerable period in his life. But the court was unconvinced. In 2013, Hurd pleaded guilty and received a 15-year federal prison sentence. Now incarcerated at FCY Bastrop in Texas, His dramatic downfall serves as a sobering warning about how quickly bad decisions and criminal involvement can destroy even the most promising of futures. Abby Lee Miller, once a household name thanks to her role on Dance Moms, now finds herself among the ranks of disgraced reality TV stars. For many mid-level celebrities, life after the limelight can be a difficult path, often marked by legal battles, public scandals, or personal setbacks. While some manage to reinvent themselves and stage a comeback, Miller's post-fame trajectory has been defined more by controversy than redemption. Her turbulent fall from grace serves as a stark example of how quickly fame can fade, and how difficult it can be to recover once it's gone. Abby Lee Miller shot to fame in 2011 as the commanding force behind Dance Moms, a reality series that chronicled her intense mission to mold young dancers into top-tier competitors. Her unapologetically tough coaching methods and larger-than-life personality quickly grabbed viewers' attention, making her both a polarizing and compelling figure. The show's popularity skyrocketed, leading to several successful spin-offs and firmly establishing Miller as a dominant presence in the world of competitive dance and reality television. In October 2015, Abby Lee Miller's empire came crashing down when she was indicted on fraud charges after investigators discovered a secret bank account she had used to hide income, despite filing for bankruptcy in 2010. In an attempt to lessen the fallout, Miller struck a plea deal with the IRS and admitted guilt to reduce charges. Nevertheless, the court handed down a sentence of 366 days in prison. She ultimately served 9 months at the Federal Correctional Institution in Victorville, marking a dramatic fall from television fame to federal inmate, one that left a lasting stain on her once thriving brand. Jared Fogle, once a familiar face in American pop culture, gained widespread fame in the early 2000s after claiming he lost a massive amount of weight by eating Subway sandwiches. His transformation made him a symbol of personal change and healthy living, landing him a long-running role as the brand's spokesperson, a position he held for an impressive 15 years, from 2000 to 2015. But the man once celebrated for his inspiring journey would see his image shattered in the summer of 2015, when he became the focus of a disturbing scandal that stunned the public and erased years of carefully built credibility. That same year, Jared Fogle's public image was shattered when federal authorities raided his home as part of a criminal investigation, uncovering deeply unsettling evidence of his involvement in crimes against minors. As the investigation progressed, the full extent of his misconduct came to light, sending shockwaves across the nation. Subway quickly severed all ties with him, attempting to distance the brand from the growing scandal. Fogle ultimately pleaded guilty to multiple serious charges, including crossing state lines to engage in illicit acts. Despite negotiating a plea deal, he was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison, over 3 years longer than what prosecutors had originally sought, cementing the dramatic fall of a once celebrated public figure. Harvey Weinstein, the influential co-founder of Miramax, became a dominant force in Hollywood during the 1990s, producing critically acclaimed hits like Pulp Fiction and Good Will Hunting, and earning an Academy Award for Shakespeare in Love. For years, he was seen as a tastemaker and kingmaker in the film industry. But his powerful image came crashing down when long-swirling rumors erupted into a major scandal. A bombshell investigation by the New York Times unveiled accusations from more than a dozen women, detailing years of sexual harassment and abuse, marking the beginning of Weinstein's dramatic and irreversible fall from grace. A follow-up exposé by The New Yorker revealed even more disturbing allegations, sparking a wave of reckoning that saw nearly 100 women, including prominent celebrities, step forward to share their experiences of Weinstein's abuse. In 2018, the New York District Attorney's Office filed formal charges against him, including rape, criminal sexual acts, sexual abuse, and misconduct involving 2 women. Actress Annabella Sciorra delivered powerful testimony on the stand, recounting her traumatic encounter. Weinstein was ultimately convicted and sentenced to 23 years in prison. He later received an additional 16-year sentence in Los Angeles, and British prosecutors have since approved charges for sexual assault in London. He is currently serving his sentence at Mohawk Correctional Facility in upstate New York, approximately 100 miles north of New York City. His legacy now defined not by accolades, but by the enormity of his crimes. Ian Watkins, former frontman of the emo band Lost Prophets, shocked the world in late 2012 when he was arrested on a series of horrific charges involving minors. Once praised as a powerful voice for the misunderstood and admired for his emotional connection with fans, Watkins's fall from grace was nothing short of devastating. The revelations marked a chilling betrayal, leaving the music community in disbelief and forever staining the legacy of a band that had once been a beacon for countless young listeners. Initially, both fans and bandmates struggled to accept the allegations against Ian Watkins, standing by him in disbelief. However, as the harrowing details of his crimes emerged, they were forced to sever all ties. Investigators described the evidence of child abuse as among the most appalling they had ever encountered, so graphic and disturbing that it shocked even seasoned professionals. In the end, Watkins pleaded guilty to a series of heinous charges, including possession of illegal material and other serious offenses, sparing the jury from being exposed to the full, horrifying scope of his actions. Ian Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison, with an additional 6 years of supervised release, ensuring he remains under tight restrictions for much of his life. Since his incarceration, his physical and mental health have deteriorated significantly, leaving him a shadow of the person he once was. Though a handful of former acquaintances and fans continue to visit, his reputation as a musician has been completely destroyed. Once admired for his talent and emotional depth, Watkins's name is now synonymous with betrayal and horror, a legacy permanently scarred by his unforgivable actions. In October 2009, former MMA fighter War Machine shocked fans by stepping into the entertainment world in an effort to boost his income outside the cage. During this period, he landed roles in several films and began a high-profile relationship with adult film star Christy Mack. But his life soon began to unravel. In 2010, he was sentenced to a year in jail for assault, an early sign of deeper issues beneath the surface. After his release, discovering that Mack had moved on ignited a violent rage. On August 8, 2014, he stormed into her home and viciously attacked both Mack and her boyfriend, Corey Thomas. The assault left Mack with devastating injuries and sparked nationwide outrage, marking a dark and disturbing turn in War Machine's already troubled story. The jury ultimately found War Machine, born Jonathan Copenhaver, guilty on numerous charges, including kidnapping and attempted murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 36 years. Once a rising star in the MMA world, His fall from grace was both swift and devastating. His transformation from celebrated fighter to convicted felon now serves as a haunting cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how unchecked violence and inner turmoil can destroy not only a career, but countless lives along the way. Kris Wu, a Canadian-born entertainer, first rose to prominence in the K-pop scene as a member of the popular South Korean boy band EXO. Known for his charisma and stage presence, Wu, whose real name is Wu Yifan, eventually left the group to embark on a solo career, quickly making a name for himself in both music and film. In the mid-2010s, he transitioned into acting, starring in major Chinese blockbusters such as The Mermaid and Journey to the West, The Demons Strike Back. His growing international appeal also led to roles in Hollywood hits like XXX, Return of Xander Cage and Valerian, and The City of a Thousand Planets, solidifying his status as a rising global star. In July 2021, Kris Wu's carefully cultivated image unraveled when a woman filed a formal complaint with Beijing police, accusing him of coercing her into a sexual encounter in 2020. According to reports, Wu had invited the woman to his residence under the guise of casting her for a role in a music video. Once there, he allegedly provided her with alcohol and took advantage of her in an intoxicated state. The allegations sent shockwaves through both the Chinese entertainment industry and his international fan base, marking the beginning of a dramatic and highly publicized fall from grace. Following the initial accusation, a wave of additional allegations surfaced as multiple women, including celebrities and teenage girls, came forward online with eerily similar stories. As public outrage intensified, so did the legal consequences. Wu was arrested and formally charged, and in November 2022, the Chaoyang District Court found him guilty of rape. He was sentenced to 13 years in prison, bringing a stunning and definitive end to the career of a once-rising global star. The case marked one of the most high-profile celebrity convictions in China's recent history, sending a clear message about accountability in the entertainment industry. Shannon Richardson, though far from a household name, had landed small roles in popular series like The Walking Dead and The Vampire Diaries. But in 2013, she gained national infamy for a chilling and bizarre crime, sending ricin-laced letters to high-profile political figures, including former President Barack Obama and New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. The poison, notoriously featured in Breaking Bad, turned the case into headline news. Amid a bitter divorce, Richardson tried to frame her estranged husband, Nathan, by falsely accusing him of sending the letters. However, investigators quickly uncovered the truth behind her elaborate lie. She was ultimately convicted and sentenced to 18 years in prison, transforming her from a little-known actress into a symbol of shocking criminal deception. Oscar Pistorius was once hailed as one of the most inspiring figures in global sports. After losing both legs in early childhood, the South African sprinter overcame immense physical challenges to achieve international fame. Making history by competing in both the Paralympic and Olympic Games, Pistorius became a powerful symbol of resilience and determination. His journey captivated the world, proving that true greatness is not measured by physical ability, but by the relentless will to defy expectations and chase one's dreams. However, in the early hours of Valentine's Day 2013, Pistorius's once celebrated story took a dark and heartbreaking turn. That morning, he shot and killed his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp, a beloved model and public figure, through the locked bathroom door of his home. Pistorius claimed he believed an intruder was hiding inside, but investigators quickly raised doubts about his version of events. Evidence of growing strain and emotional conflict in their relationship in the months prior cast a troubling shadow over his defense, transforming the narrative from one of triumph to tragedy. Buck Zumhofe, once known as the rock and roller in the wrestling scene, carved out a modest career during the 1980s, performing in promotions such as AWA and Pro Wrestling America. By the time he made his way to WWE, then WWF, his role had shifted to that of an enhancement talent, primarily used to help build the credibility of rising stars. While his time in the spotlight was limited, one of his most notable moments came when he became the first wrestler ever placed in a body bag by The Undertaker, securing a small yet memorable place in WWE history despite his otherwise unremarkable run. However, Buck Zumhofe's legacy in professional wrestling has been irrevocably tarnished by deeply disturbing criminal actions. In 2003, he was arrested and charged with multiple offenses following harrowing allegations of prolonged abuse. The case unearthed a troubling pattern, as Zumhofe had already served prison time for similar crimes in the 1980s. Ultimately found guilty, he was sentenced to more than 25 years behind bars. Once a recognizable figure in the wrestling world, Zumhofe's name is now synonymous with disgrace, his career permanently overshadowed by the severity of his actions and the lasting harm they caused. Thank you for watching today's video about Hollywood stars currently in jail. We hope these stories have raised your awareness about the risks and consequences of living in the spotlight. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on more interesting content in the future. See you in the next video.